Welcome to SP Facilities, version 16. My name's Jeff Crosman, and I'm a senior product manager here at SP Marketplace. Today, we're going to be looking at assets and preventative maintenance and how those two work together. As you're looking at, this is our main page where all facilities staff and maintenance staff will land, as you probably saw in an earlier video. Today we're going to be looking at assets and asset preventative maintenance. You can access the asset list from the promoted links on the main page here. You can also access the assets and the setup, which we'll explore a little bit later on, the maintenance periods for those two items from the navigation menu on the left-hand side. Let's look at assets right now. This is standard SharePoint asset list, and so when looking at assets, you can look at all items, you can look at items by view, you can set up your own custom views. It's a standard SharePoint list. Out of the box, we do have some views already created, such as when asset maintenance is due, or you can look at assets by status, and so forth. Let's look at the parts washer. And what we'll see here is a whole lot of tabs across the top that will describe the asset and the details that are relevant to your organization or company. Under the Asset Information tab, you'll find the title of the asset. If you use an asset ID, you can use that. If you use a barcode, you have a field for that. But there's some fields here that are very important that we've improved on version 16, and that is this cost limit and the work order calculation to date. Those two trigger a notification to the owner of the asset when the cost limit is met or exceeded based on the work order cost to date. So for instance, this part washer, maybe it's worth $20,000 and the owner wants to be notified when it reaches half of that amount in order to determine whether or not they replace that asset or make any other decisions regarding it. So when the work order cost to date equals $10,000 or more in US dollars, an email via a Power Automate flow will be sent to the owner, letting them know that that threshold has been met or exceeded, and then they can make a decision on that. We have where the asset is located, facility, building location, and a photo opportunity if you wanted to add that in. The description is just a text box, any attachments for it. History will be when you acquired it, cost, when it was placed into service, and so forth. You can see here the vendor that it was at, and if it's still active or not. Maintenance log is where the maintenance periods will show up for preventative maintenance on this particular asset, and we're going to cover that in just a minute. Related work orders, this is a quick view. All work orders that have ever been attached to this asset or referencing this asset will show up here. So you get a full history of everything that was done on this asset just by clicking on this tab, and you can have a review that shows up in the list. And then any child assets, if this is a parent asset that's defined here as a parent asset, if there's a child asset that's related to that within this part washer, maybe there's a motor or some other asset that you could track, it will show up as a child asset to this top level. Now let's look at the way that preventative maintenance schedules are set up. So again, we'll keep in mind this is part washer, and let's set up a preventative maintenance for this. You'd want to go into the navigation, facility resources, asset maintenance periods. Within this list, you will set up a maintenance period, and you can call it weekly maintenance, general maintenance, you could call it part washer maintenance, monthly, quarterly, however often you want to perform maintenance on that part washer is where you'd set this up. So in adding a new item, we'd open the new modern form here, and we'd say part washer monthly maintenance. When setting this up, we only need to set it up one time. So this is going to be a monthly occurrence, and the maintenance interval is every 30 days. This will come into play in just a second, and I'll show you that. Last maintenance date will be blank when you're setting up a new one. If this was already set up and work orders were running against it or created against it, you'd see when the last maintenance work order was created here. The next maintenance date, in this case, this is in US calendar format. Let's say the next maintenance date is the December 15th. So once December 15th comes, the system will automatically generate or create a work order, and it can notify or assign, if necessary, that work order. The system will also then increment this date by the number in this field. So if you put 30 days, then it would go out to most likely 30 days from there, which would be probably January 15th or maybe 14th, depending on if the month had 30 or 31 days in it. Category, you would pick what category that particular item falls into. So this is, in this case, let's call it services. If you wanted to put a description, you could. If there was a contractor that you wanted to use, you would be able to assign them here. And if you knew the expense that this monthly maintenance typically incurs, say you wanted to add in for labor and or maybe some additional labor expenses or things, you could put in, let's say it's $300 every time we do this particular maintenance. Pick the facility, building. If appropriate, you can use all three or all two of these, or if you want to just use one, you don't have to use them. So they're not required fields, only the title is, and the next maintenance date would be. Save that. So after filling in facilities and buildings, or building that it is, then you want to pick the related asset. The related asset in this case would be the parts washer. So now what we've done is we've linked this particular maintenance period item where you're setting up the actual time frame for when the maintenance should occur. Again, you can pick whether it's monthly, weekly, annually, quarterly, seasonally. You can adjust whatever that is, and it will be related then to the asset parts washer. So once it's saved, now you can see it in our list right here, and this will now run on the next maintenance date, which would be in this case December 15th. It will show up in the work order list, and it will be prefaced with asset maintenance work order. And then in this case, it would say parts washer monthly maintenance. That is the overview of our asset and preventative maintenance. There will be a calendar as well that you could reference to show what's coming up for maintenance, as well as I said it before, you can auto assign by going into the admin area of the site, and under categories, we have staff to notify based on a category selection where they will just simply get notified that a work order was generated, or we have an auto assign field if you wanted to assign a specific person or group of people to a category when selected, creating a work order. So we could do staff to notify or auto assign. Once again, thank you for watching our overview of assets and asset maintenance setup for our facilities management version 16 product.